At Option Genius, we believe that you deserve freedom, financial freedom, so that you have no more worries and more than enough money. Time freedom, so that you could do what you want, when you want to do it. And choice freedom, to live your life on your terms. But the system and Wall Street are rigged against those little guys. So how do we fight back? Well, my friend, that's what this podcast is all about. My name is Alan Sama, and this is the Option Genius Podcast. Hello. I want to do a little bit different today, and I am going to be answering a question that I got from a podcast listener. So this is a question that we get frequently, and I do encourage you to send us questions if you have anything regarding trading or investing that we can help with. I'm more than willing for you to reach out to us, email us. It's help@optiongenius.com. Hopefully we can help you. If there is something we can do and give you some, point you in the right direction, we will. If not, we'll tell you straight out, hey, we're not experts in that. We don't know. And maybe we'll try to find a resource for you or something. But we do our best to help everybody out as much as possible because in the end, we're all in this together, right? Nobody's getting out of this alive. So might as well help each other and make the world a better place, right? So this is a question I get often, and got this question recently from a listener. And the question says, the one thing I struggle with is constantly being scared out of the market. I have a trading plan with iron condors and credit spreads and fail to follow it by not trading frequently enough or with enough size. How is the best way to scale up your trading to make a bigger income out of it? So basically, the fellow is saying that he does, trades, mostly spreads, but he's hesitant and scared to not do it enough and not do it with enough money when he does do it. So he's thinking about how can he scale up his trading to be better at it or make more money from it. So the first thing you need to realize is that fear is not always a bad thing. I mean, it's there to alert you to danger, right? That's why we get scared. Something dangerous happening. But it's also there to alert you to opportunity as well. So we look at fear as a negative thing, but fear is just a common response, right? It doesn't have to be something that is bad for us that we are afraid of. So anything outside of our comfort zone can be scary, but that doesn't mean that it's bad for us. And so a lot of people are scared of placing their first trade. They're scared of investing money in the stock market because they're afraid to lose it, which is one possible outcome, yes, but you can mitigate that and you can protect against that. And so when you look at it and you say, look, there are trillions or gazillions of dollars, whatever, invested in stocks around the world. What do those people know that I don't, that I'm afraid to put my money in the stock market? What are the people that are trading profitably and consistently? And what do they know that I don't know that I'm not consistent? And that's why I'm afraid of making trades or making bigger trades. Is there a secret out there that they know that I don't? Well, most likely not. There are certain ways to do things, and once you learn those things, you can follow them methodically. But the problem is fear and emotions. And I'll get to that. The second thing you need to realize is that being out of the market is not a bad thing either, right? We don't have to be trading every single expiration cycle. You don't have to be exposed all the time. You get to pick and choose. So if the markets get scary and volatile, there is nothing wrong with taking a step back, catching your breath, and reassessing to decide if you want to get back in or if you want to wait until things calm down. So now this fellow thinks that it's a problem that he's not trading enough. He wants to trade more and he's not trading with enough size. It would be a bigger problem if he was trading and he was losing money. But that's not what he said. He said that he has a plan, but he's just not doing it enough. So if his plan is profitable, then it doesn't matter if he's trading every month because he's making something. So as long as you're making something and you're compounding it, eventually it's going to grow and you just let it grow and grow and grow. So if you're not comfortable in the market all the time, and if you're not comfortable making your trade size bigger, doing more contracts, there's nothing wrong with that. You're okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. So don't think that. Don't think negative, that it's a negative. No, it's as long as you're profitable, you decide how much you want to trade. The gains will be smaller, right? So if you have a goal, I need to be a millionaire or have $10 million or whatever, yeah, it'll take you a little bit longer. But you can still compound it, and that compounding is exponential. So you might not get there tomorrow, but you will get there. Okay? The third thing is called market risk. And this is something that nobody ever talks about, which is being at risk because you're in the market. It's hard to take this into account. But when selling options, you have the ability to look at each and every expiration cycle as a separate time period, right? And if you miss one, no big deal. We had one of our students, he was going in for surgery. So he's like, yeah, how do I protect my trades? How do you protect your trades is you get out, right? There's no telling what's going to happen in your surgery. Now, heaven forbid something really bad happens to you, but he was expected to come home in a couple of days. But yeah, sure. Hey, why are we taking that risk at all? Get out of your trades, take the time off, recuperate, go through your surgery, get better, rehabilitate, and then when you're back to normal, then you can go back in again, right? We as option traders have that ability. Now, fear and scaling are a different thing. For me, it's been a process of focusing on managing your risk and protecting capital. So as you slowly gain more and more confidence in your ability to become consistent, you will become more comfortable taking on more risk, which leads to generating more income and obviously growing the account. Does that make sense? So before you scale, or at least when it comes to a point that it is consequential to you, you have to take control of your emotions before you can start doing that. Now, that point is different for everybody. You know, for some people, they can't handle losing $100. For some people, they can't handle losing $100,000. So it's different for everybody. I have seen traders freak out. Putting on a trade, they get out when they're down $200. I'm like, what happened? Why'd you get out? I couldn't handle it. I was losing money. I'm like, yeah, you were technically down on paper for one day, but the thing rallied and you would have been up today. The trade would have worked. Why did you get out? I couldn't take it. I'm like, okay. Well, then you know yourself. And if you can't handle a $200 loss, then maybe trading is not right for you. Or maybe you need to get a handle on your emotions, right? So I've seen other traders on the flip side, they risk $1 million with no trading plan or any understanding of what to do if the trade goes south. And I've seen everything in between. I mean, when I started the Option Genius service, right, one of the first people I talked to, this was like way, this was years ago. One of the first people I ever talked to, the guy said, oh, hey, I just joined your service and you just put out a Iron Condor and I just put $100,000 in that trade. And I was like, what? You put $100,000? How much is in your account? He goes, oh, $100,000. I'm like, you put the whole thing in one trade? He goes, yep. I said, how do you know it's going to work? He goes, well, your site looked good. Like, my site looked good. That was the reasoning. That you put $100,000 in one trade? Are you like out of your mind? I mean, you don't know who I am, right? Because at the time, I didn't have a podcast. I didn't have my picture anywhere. I told him, I remember I told him, like, dude, you don't know who I am. I could be some kid, some teenager sitting in China putting up a website trying to scam people. And he was like quiet. He's like, oh, yeah, I never thought of that. I mean, luckily that trade worked out great. And after that, I helped him to, not put all of his money in one trade, which would be a good thing for anybody. But I digress. Right? So there are people on both sides. There are the ones that can't take any risk, and then the ones that are super risk takers. So the thing is that it's all pretty much mental. It's in your head. It is fear, plain and simple, right? So trading one contract is technically the same as trading 10 or 100 or 1,000. It's the same trade, just different numbers. The numbers are a little bit bigger. But yeah, it can be a huge block, a mental block. And part of it comes down to knowing your dollar goal. How much do you actually want to make? So if you're trading too small to hit your goal, right? If your goal is $1,000 a month, but you're only doing one trade that can only make $100 a month, you're never going to hit your goal. So then the goal will help you scale, because that's just math. You're like, oh man, I can't get my goal. Okay, I need to do more because I need to get to my goal. The other side is to have confidence. And that comes with doing the trades over and over and over and over. And if you use real money, it can take years as you go through the different markets, right? You go through a bear market, you go through a bull market, you go through a sideways market, you go through a correction, you go through a dip, you go through all these different things. It takes years to understand how to trade through all those different environments. Now, as passive traders, we have the odds on our side, and the trades are built in to withstand these shocks, but it can still impact us, and the biggest impact is on us mentally, okay? And I've done podcasts in the past where you got trading scars. That was the name of the podcast, Trading Scars. When you're trading and you take hits, it causes a scar mentally. Not on your body, but in your brain. So that when not physically, but it's a memory. And so when you're in that same situation again, you have to learn how to react properly so that you don't get another scar, you don't get hurt again. Now, that's with trading with real money. Now, if you're paper trading or you're back testing, you can get that experience much, much sooner. Okay, so even if you're doing one, I would suggest you do the other two. If you're just doing paper, I would expect you to do some back testing and eventually get to real money so that you can know what that feels like. If you're only doing real money with a smaller account, then do back testing and do paper trades and get as many trades on as you can handle. Get as many trades on as you can do as soon, as fast as you can. That will help you get the experience. And only through that experience will you feel calmness. Will you feel confident? Be like, yeah, you know what? I can handle this. Like I traded through the Lehman Brothers collapse and the Great Depression or Great Recession or whatever they called it, right? And so when the Corona thing came, it's like, oh man, I've been through this. Oh, it wasn't that bad. Oh yeah, because I've been through it. I've been through worse, right? Been through bull markets, been through bear markets, been through corrections. After a while, it becomes like a sixth sense. It's like, oh yeah, I know what the market's kind of going to do. If it does this, I'll do this. If it does this, I'll do that. But I feel confident that I can make adjustments and I'm going to get through it. But if you've never been through that environment before, it's like, oh my God, the end of the world, the market is dropping every day. Oh my God, what do I do? I'm going to lose all my money. Get out. The worst possible time. That's what most people do because they don't have the experience. So do the paper trading, do the back testing. The third aspect of having confidence in your system or your strategy. So the thing has to work too, right? The way you're trading has to work as well. So you got desire, you got experience, you got confidence. 3 legs of the stool, and you got to have all 3. You could also look at this in a different way. So if you tell yourself that you have, let's say, $3,000 and that you have to make it work. Man, this is it. That's all the money I have in the world. I got to work. It's got to work. I got to make money. I can't lose this money under no circumstances. Can I lose this money? My wife's going to chop my head off or something else, right? Then it is just too much pressure, and you will either lose it or you will not trade it properly, which will end up making you lose it. So yeah, if you have that much stress on you to not take a loss, then you're going to lose it. So you can't do that either. That's why we always say, trade with money you can afford to lose. If you can afford to lose it, that takes away a whole negative aspect of it that will destroy you. Okay? So, in order to scale, step 1 is to be able to control yourself. And that includes being okay with losing money. It includes understanding and being okay that you can lose all the money in your account. And it includes not freaking out when things get volatile. So you do this in a number of ways. Number 1, like I said, is you have confidence in your trading plan. So if you've put on a whole bunch of trades and you've seen them work, you're going to have more confidence. If you are trading with a group or other people are doing it, or if you have a mentor that's been doing it and he's telling you, hey, look, this is the way we trade. This is how it's going to work. And if you've seen it work, then you have confidence. Number 2, if you have experience doing the same strategy hundreds or thousands of times, that's basically how you get the confidence in the trading plan. Then step 2 of scaling is to increase your position sizing. Obviously, right? Yeah, I want to scale. Okay, step 2. Step 1 that we talked about was being able to control yourself. Step 1 to scaling is being able to control yourself. Step 2 is to go ahead and then do it, to increase your position sizing. Now remember how you thought about going to school or training for whatever you do now for a living, for your job, right? Do you remember getting trained for that? if you had to get a college or get a certificate or go to a seminar or whatever, you did all that. You put up with all that because you were training. You were learning. And it took time. It's the same thing here. Trading takes time to learn. But this puts you in a real life seminar. And you are paying your dues every day. The time that you put in, you're paying your dues. You put your trades on, you monitor them, you debrief them at the end, right? What happened? What went wrong? What went right? What did I do right? How can I change it? How can I make my results better? You rinse and you repeat. You got a good plan? Keep doing it over and over and over again. As your account size gets larger, you can go from 1 contract to maybe 2, then maybe to 3, then to 5, then to 7. You go at your own pace. There is no race. There is no time limit. As long as you're doing constantly better, you're being consistent, like I said earlier, the account will grow in size. And you'll get more confident and you can trade more. And it's up to you. You want to go from 1 to 5? If you got the money and if you had the experience, okay, fine. I wouldn't advise it. I'd go from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 10. Take it small jumps. It doesn't need to be overnight because there's no rush. It's not like, my next door neighbor just bought a Mercedes. I got to buy one too, so I need to do 100 trades this month. No. Forget him and his Mercedes. Who cares? Right? Be confident with who you are and what you have. And don't rock the boat. We don't want to take unnecessary risk when you don't have to. For most people, it's better to move from, say, 3 contracts to 4 contracts to 6 to 10 in small increments. Because there's no such thing as missing out on the trade of the century. There is no trade of the century. It's like, oh my God, if I don't invest now, I'm going to lose. I'm never going to get this opportunity again. No, it doesn't happen. There's no such thing. They said that, before, years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 6 months ago. They've been saying that forever. As long as you get in and you can consistently make money, you're fine. It's just going to grow. Everything is the same. So you don't need to put all your money in one trade when you're not ready to do so. Okay? Now, step 3 to scaling. Once you have increased contract size, you need to increase the account size. Or maybe you need to do the account size before you do the contract size. Either way. But one usually comes after the other. You do this, obviously, by adding more money to the pot. Put more money in your account, right? Now, you can do it the other way and you'll be like, you know what, I'm just going to grow the account and whatever I make, I'm going to keep it and just scale that way. Or you can say, hey, look, I've got the confidence. I've got my emotions under control. I got a good strategy. I got a good mentor. I feel confident to be able to go to the next level. So I need to add a few $1,000s more into my account so I can go from, say, 2 contracts to 4 or 4 to 8, right? I'm going to go incrementally higher. I'm not going to go from 2 to 10. Don't do that. 2 to 4, 2 to 5. Slowly build it up. Go to the next level. Trade there for a little while. Get comfortable. Then you can go again to the next level. It's like going up steps, right? So once you're adding more money to the pot, you can do something or you can add something to your account that's called portfolio margin. What portfolio margin means is that you get additional leverage and you get the ability to make money quicker with less money tied up, actually. So for most brokers that I've seen, portfolio margin starts at $125,000. So if you have that in your account, you get portfolio margin. Now, normally when you open an account and you apply for margin, they give you 2-to-1 margin. So if you put in $10,000, they'll let you buy $20,000 worth of stock. Okay? But they charge you interest on the money that they lent you. We don't really advise that, right? Now, when you're passive trading, you need to have a margin account. If it's a non-retirement account, if it's not an IRA, then you got to have margin enabled so that you can do spreads, you can do naked puts, but we don't borrow the money. Portfolio margin is a little bit of both. So portfolio margin, I believe it's like 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 in terms of margin. So if you have $100,000, you can actually trade with $400,000. Okay? So yeah, big difference. You can borrow a lot more. But I'm not telling you to borrow a lot more. I'm telling you to do it because on your trades, they can charge you less in margin. So what I mean by that is if you do a naked put that is very, 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 very far away from the money, if you have a regular margin account, they might charge you, I don't know, let's say $3,000 in margin to do that trade. For example, I'm just making it up. Okay? But if you have a portfolio margin account, they look at it, they calculate that margin differently. They look at the actual risk of the trade. So because they can tell that you're so far away from the money and that the odds are so far in your favor, there's not a big risk of you losing money. And so the amount of margin that they're going to charge you or hold for doing that trade is going to be a lot less. So it might be like, say, $500 compared to $2,000 or $3,000 with a regular account. They'll charge you $500 a margin for a portfolio margin account. So what happens there? Well, I can make a much greater return or percentage-wise on my money, right? Dollar-wise, it'll be the same thing, but then I can decide, hey, what, do I want to do 2 of these or 3 of these instead of 1? Because I can, right? Because I have more leverage. I can do that. If the trade goes against me, of course, I'm still going to end up losing money, and I'll lose more because now I have 3 contracts versus 1. So I need to be able to know and be good with that. That's why they only give it to you if you have over $100 or $125,000. But that's what I did, right? So for myself, when I started scaling, I went horizontally. So I'm going to lay out 2 different types of scaling. What I did, I went horizontally, meaning I put small amounts into many different accounts. So, I had a Roth account. I had a regular IRA account. I had one each for my wife. I had a SEP account. I had a corporate account for the company. I had a couple personal accounts. And then I would do different trades in all the different accounts. So I got a little bit in all of them, right? So yes, I have a lot of money in the market, but they're spread out in all of these little accounts. So that's what I call horizontally, okay? In hindsight, the process worked, and now all of the accounts are fairly large. But it took a lot longer than necessary because each account did not have enough money in the beginning to do everything I wanted. So I was limited in the trades I could do. I was limited in the strategies I could do in the beginning because each account did not have that much money. So if you have, let's say, $100,000, right? You put it in one account, you can do certain things with it that you can't do if you open 10 different accounts with $10,000 each. Does that make sense? So what I've done now, right, is I still have those accounts, but I went vertically right now. That's how I'm scaling right now. I'm going vertically, and so I'm working on growing just one account to a certain level. I have a goal for this one account, and all whatever money I'm putting in is like going into this one account. I'm not spreading it out into all of them. I'm putting it all in one, and I want to get this one to a certain level that I can use to generate monthly gains that I can either withdraw if I need to, or I can just let it stay in the account and grow. So that's my plan now. Get this account to a certain level that I want to, and then when it gets there, then I don't need to put any more money into my accounts. Then I can take that money that I'm earning and make it invested somewhere else. The money that I make in that account, I can take it out if I want to invest in somewhere else, or I can just leave it there and I'll let the account grow. Okay, so I'm at the point now where it's like, you know what? I don't know if I want to have more money exposed in the stock market. Let's diversify. Let's put some over here. Let's put some over here. Let's invest in different things. So now I'm doing vertically. So eventually I started out horizontally. It was great, but I probably could have got my goals faster if I went vertically from the beginning. Okay? So doing it vertically, you're focusing on just growing one account, and that will actually, it's shown to get faster results. But it's all based on your own financial situation. Okay, I did it the other way because, I had different IRA accounts, a Roth, my wife, and there's limits on how much you can put in each every year. So, it's like, okay, I can only put this much in there. Your Roth IRA, you can only put like $5,000 or $5,500 or something like that. I don't qualify for it anymore. But when I did, I was putting, I think, about $5,000 a year. And that's the max you can put. So if you have $30,000 you want to put in the market, then you have to put 5 here, 10 here, 10 here, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I ended up with those horizontal accounts instead of putting them all into one main vertical large trading account. Does that make sense? The important thing is to get started. The more you trade, the more confident you will get, the more profits you will generate, and the more you will be inclined to add funds to your account. It's just that simple. And for some of you, I know that you have a spouse or a partner that's involved in your decisions, and it can be challenging when you want to scale and when you want to, you want to trade larger, you want to put more money in the account. I know that, they may not be on board with it, right? But if you follow this path, you have concrete results to show your spouse. And you can show, look at the history, look at my trades, look at this, I'm doing good. And that will ease their mind, and then it will make them not only okay with the idea, but it will get them supporting your trading a lot more, right? So the main thing they're worried about now is that it's going to not work. But if you have proof, if you can go to your spouse and say, look, I just did 600 trades. Look at this. Trade after trade after trade after trade, and I made this much money, then I think they're going to support you. Don't you think? Don't you agree? Like, yeah. But if you show them 3 trades, look, I did 3 trades. Okay, let's put $1 million. Let's mortgage the house. No. Right? Cool. So 90% of trading is mental. You master that, and scaling is a piece of it. All right, folks? Make sure you trade with the odds in your favor. Don't ever forget that part of it. Take care, and be safe. Are you ready to get started with passive trading and be a consistent and confident and profitable trader, generating cash flow consistently from the stock market? Well, I have some great news for you. For a limited time, we are offering my new book, Passive Trading, for free. All you got to do is go to passivetrading.com/free book, and we will send you the book in the mail for free, as long as you cover the postage and handling. So if you can cover that, we'll send you the book for free. We've already printed it. We got it for you. We're going to send it out to you. It's free. All you got to do is just go to passivetrading.com/free book and learn the basics of passive trading. Get the behind the scenes, get some examples, learn the strategies, and put this stuff to work in your life right now. Remember, go to passivetrading.com/free book and get yours now while this offer is still available.